Hi everyone, my name is Johannes Molin and I'm a product manager at Viedoc Technologies. Today I'm going to demonstrate our SDV capabilities. So here I am logged into Viedoc and I've selected my study. So from the landing page here, I will open Viedoc SDV Manager. So in Viedoc SDV Manager, you will see site assignments. You will have access to configure and update your plans, and you will also have access to the audit logs for assignment history and plan history. The first page you will reach is the site assignments page. Here you will see all the sites in the study listed, and you will see which SDV plan they are currently on. So you can see that in my study, I'm using an example with 3 different SDV plans: a low-level SDV plan, mid-level, and a high-level plan. You can also see when these plans were assigned, and to the far right, you can see a plan timeline to see more detailed what plans have been assigned to this specific site. This will give you a great overview of the SDV settings used over time for each site. And you can even zoom in on this by viewing the timeline here to see exactly what has been used and when. And this can be especially useful in longer studies or for studies where you have made a lot of SDV changes. When I want to assign a new SDV plan to a site, let's say that we have received indications that the site in Tokyo is no longer performing well. I would go to assign a plan, and I would then decide which plan is appropriate to assign. I would say in this situation, I want to assign a high-level SDV plan, and then we set the effective date. From which date should this plan be valid? In Viedoc, we work with a time period-based SDV. So from the date I select here, all the events registered will be treated with this specific SDV plan. So now I'm going to say that we have indications of dropped quality from the 1st of July. So I'm going to use that as the effective date. And again, that means that every event recorded from this date will use the high-level SDV plan. And the reason for assignment, I will just say input from central monitoring, the term that we should do this. And you can see that the low-level SDV plan will be overwritten from this specific date, and I confirm, and you can now see that we have a high-level SDV plan in use for this site, and specifically here also in the timeline. So how did we create these different SDV plans? Well, initially in the study, you will want to create your plans, import your plans or create them from scratch or duplicate an existing plan. You can see that I have 3 plans that are published, and we can see that they are assigned to different sites. You can also see that I have also 2 test plans in draft mode. This is to illustrate that you can create any number of SDV plans and you can use as many as you want to. But we recommend that you keep the number of plans down to avoid unnecessary complexity. So if I want to look a little bit closer at a specific plan, and I will do that now to look at the high-level SDV plan, the first thing you will see is that we can have multiple rules in an SDV plan. So you will set different rules per subject status. So here I have 1 rule for screening failures and 1 rule for enrolled subjects. So that means that within this SDV plan, we are still able to treat screening failures differently from enrolled subjects. And that's important since you often want to perform less SDV for screening failures. Within a given rule, you will be able to configure multiple targets. And a target can be either required or optional. So I start here with a required target where I've listed forms and items that should require SDV. And initially, well, for the first target, that would apply to all the events and activities where these forms are present. But then I have a more specific target where for these specific forms, they should only require SDV if it's these events and activities. Target number 3 and 4 refers to optional targets. That means that in Viedoc Clinic, the monitor will be able to SDV these items as well, with these forms and items as well. It will not require SDV and it will not affect the metrics, but the monitor can still SDV them. And if you leave forms and items out of targets completely, that means that they are not applicable for SDV and you're not even able to SDV those forms and items. Here you can also make updates and you can save them in draft format, and you can also publish changes. Depending on your access levels, you will have different permissions in Viedoc SDV Manager. So you could have one role that is only able to see the site assignments, but not make any actions. And you will have the possibility to add other roles that can configure SDV plans and update SDV plans, and another role that can publish SDV plans. So that means that you can also have an approval process with your SDV plan, with one role that is able to configure and another that can publish SDV plans. Finally, we have complete audit logs, both over the assignment history, so that you can see when new plans were assigned and by who and so on. And you can also export this in CSV format. And in the same way with the plan history, you can see the changes made to each plan, and you can see the overview details on the screen, and you can export the full details in CSV. That was all for this video. Thank you for listening. Please do not hesitate to reach out if you have any questions. Thank you.